Hello and welcome back to OG Cars, and you join us in the queue for Festival of the Unexceptional. And what car are we now in?
The 1974 Wartburg Knight, and we're in quite a long queue of traffic, so I'm doing the right thing and leaving the engine off while we go downhill and just yeah, it's not like I've got servo assisted brakes or anything in this thing, so yeah, we're just rolling down on the brakes. We've got Sam in the Trabant behind us, and we've got Mick with the Wartburg 1.3 behind us as well, so we're going to have our Eastern Bloc cars together.
Yeah, and you're missing the most important thing.
Of course, the baby.
The baby! So while Owen focuses on getting us in safely, we just thought we'd do a really quick overview of kind of our journey up here, because we didn't really film it. I did a few like little clips which I can overlay now, but obviously we went from where we live in South Wales all the way up to a place called the Wishing Well, which is about 15 minutes away from Festival of the Unexceptional. It took us just over 5.5 hours. We did have one little stop for lunch, and then we had one slightly unexpected stop. Is that Alex?
That's Alex over there.
Oh
Alex
my god, our friend Alex has stopped with hazards on. Just to quickly explain why we cut off there. This is our friend Alex in his Moscovich, and it looks like it might have broken down.
Potentially.
I don't know yet though, I'll keep you updated. So we've just passed Alex in the Moscovich, and they were topping something up. We didn't have a chance to stop, so hopefully we'll see him in the show in a moment, and hopefully they get in all okay. But yeah, basically on the way up here, not really that eventful. Traffic was quite rubbish, but we did have one slight moment with the Wartburg, didn't we?
Yeah, just one small one to start kangarooing up a hill on, and it was the A road, wasn't it, dual carriageway?
Yeah.
And yeah, I stopped in the nearest lay-by, and it had a quarter of a tank, which, you know, it's been run down to beyond that before, and yeah, I didn't really know what the problem was, so I checked under the bonnet, had a look, yeah, the engine's still there, so I chucked a bit of oil in it, I didn't have any petrol, otherwise I would put some petrol in it as well, but put a little bit of oil in it, and we just made it to the next petrol station, filled it up, but it had no problems getting there, so I don't really know what it was, but we'll go with whatever it was. Turning it off and back on again did the trick.
Yeah, so that's fixed in our heads. And then yeah, we got to our campsite. We stayed with Sam, who's behind us, in the Trabant. Hudson, did you enjoy it? That's yes, dog language. But yeah, Hudson's actually been really well behaved. Whenever we can go to a show and bring him, we always like to bring him along, because there's a lot of shows that don't welcome dogs, so if he can come, he's here with us. And as you can see, he's very happy about it. He can't wait to see all of the cars. But yeah, once we're in there, what we're going to do, in complete honesty with all of you, we keep having issues with copyright and music, so we're going to show you a few of our favourite cars and probably just leave it at that.
So we've just been doing some fiddling on the Moscovich, Alex's Moscovich, and yeah, the distributor cap and rotor arm are really warm, and the coil was about 7 million degrees, so we've changed those now and it runs perfectly, so that's ideal. Alex will be able to drive home tonight.
So whilst Owen was helping Alex fix the Moscovich, which they did manage to do successfully, I started to have a mooch at the cars. So what we'll do now is have a look at some of our favourites. So next to where they were working on the car, there was this absolutely fantastic condition Fiat 900 panel van. Very rare to see it in panel van conversion, they are normally campers. And it appeared to come along with this Fiat Panda that was next to it. Again, you know me and Owen are going to love a Fiat Panda, and this one does look like a real survivor and is absolutely fantastic to see that car there. From here, Alex very kindly offered me and Owen lunch for fixing the car, so we then went up to the concourse, and one of the cars that caught my eye at the concourse were this lovely Alto. We found out later that had only been MOT'd the day before the show after a very long spell off the road, and it was such a rare car and great to see it there.
Another car that I really loved in the concourse was this Subaru Justy. It's well travelled, and it got third place at FOTU as well, and I must admit I am a sucker for a Justy. I've always liked the shape. Another one of my favourites in the concourse was this Yugo Sana, owned by our good friend Ollie, and as far as we know, it's the only Sana on the road, and it was saved from a barn fairly recently, and Ollie's been getting out to a few shows, which is really nice. When we left the concourse, there were so many other cars for us to see, including this Invacar. We have a friend who's got another friend who had a very large collection of these, so it's nice to see one of these about. And another car we spotted was this lovely Tipo, which made me very sad as it reminded me of one that I had, which I very much loved.
Now, another highlight for me was seeing my old Mark II Astra. Now, I did not expect to see this car at the show. It was with the same guy that I sold it to, and he's still absolutely loving it. putting it in the time and the effort that that car deserves. As you can see, it's still got the same paintwork, but he's put 3,000 miles on it since I bought that car, and I was just so happy to see that there and get to have a chat with him. It's absolutely lovely to see it. And another car which of course caught my eye was this Mark 1 Twingo, which is owned by our good friend Chris. As far as I'm aware, this is a run-out model. It was the last one when they came to the end of the Twingo, which is why it's on the French plates. He's recently imported it, and it was just great to see a Mark 1 Twingo as always.
So a few of our friends came down. We had Dan and Curtis come down in their Maestro and Nova. They're fairly local to us, and it's great to see them here. And hopefully we'll feature their cars on the channel soon as well. They came down with our good friend Simon as well, who's slightly more local, but still made the trek to FOTU in his lovely Felicia.
Moving on to a few other highlights of mine, there was this stunning 3-door white AX, which really reminded me of my highlight and made me really sad. I had the opportunity to buy that car back about a year ago and I didn't, and I really regret it. And then two other little highlights are two Fiats, of course. We had this lovely Fiat Fiorino van with the early front ends. That's incredibly rare. And there was also our friend Jim's Maria Weekend, which is another really rare Fiat as well.
A few other ones of my favourites now. We've got this lovely SD1. It reminds me of basically this driveway near to where I used to live. There was just loads of SD1s on the driveway, so it just reminds me of that. It's nice to see. There's this lovely Alfa Romeo 145 which travelled all the way from Cardiff as well, so great to see that too. And there is this gorgeous Uno Start, which is a really nice original car with the original stickers, and it has these fantastic brochures in the back as well.
A few other highlights for me included this absolutely fantastic Suzuki Swift on an S-Reg. You do not see them on the early shape anymore. The colour's fantastic, the interior's fantastic, a credit to the owner. But speaking of immaculate, there is this Skoda Favourite Blackline, absolutely phenomenal looking car. You know I love a Favourite. Contrary to speculation, I've never owned a Blackline. I would love to, but they are so rare that you do just never see them. And then moving down the line, you come across one of my dream cars, which is a Toyota Serra. The only reason I've never owned one of these is because it means selling the Nissan, which I'm really going to struggle to do. And if we look beyond those fantastic doors that the Serra's got, we can't overlook this other Renault Twingo Mark 1.
We came across this lovely Citroen BX. I'm quite a fan of this fairly lower spec leader model, and it was really exceptionally clean as well. We saw the Civic Shuttle, which I do believe is a ULEZ survivor. I think it came up on the page quite recently, so it's great to see that out and about. And another car we saw locally travelled from us in South Wales is Matt's lovely Volvo 340.
Speaking of cars that had travelled, it was fantastic to see how far cars had come from. You can see this Toyota has travelled all the way from Poland. There's this incredibly survivor spec Uno coming all the way from Ireland. And then there's also this BX, which has come from the Netherlands. Cars had come from all over, and it was just fantastic to see. There's also this Renault Scenic. When was the last time you saw an early Scenic? Genuinely, I cannot remember. So it's great to see that as well. But after we'd seen majority of the cars, we went back to the car to go and get a drink. It was a little bit warmer than we thought it was going to be, so we were just making sure that Hudson had always had a drink, and he was having a bit of a lie down. Even though he's absolutely chaotic and he didn't stop all day, we made sure he's obviously looked after, and we got to just stand there, and me and Hudson anyway, just take in these swarm of people who wanted to talk to Owen about the Wartburg and take the Wartburg in, and it was just fantastic. You know, it's great for Owen to get all of this attention, and for the Wartburg to get all of this attention for all the effort that he has put in with that car.
So Steph from iDriver Classic did briefly speak to me about the Wartburg, so you can catch that on that channel there. And just next to my two-stroke, we had Mick's Wartburg 1.3, which was great to see as well, which is obviously the later updated version of my car. We also had our great friend Sam's Trabant there. He had only recently bought it, and he thought the best thing to do with it would be take it on a 1,640 mile round trip all across England and Scotland. What a lad. We also saw this glorious Visa, and I'm a really big fan of these. They're really rare, and I absolutely love the colour on this Visa as well. Speaking of cars that we love, this is a personal highlight, or rather highlights for me. I've always thought of these Tercels as a guilty pleasure for me, especially this brown one with incredible brown interior. Lovely.
Now this Renault TXE caught my eye because of, funnily enough, the wheels. I've recently bought these wheels to put on Mr. P. I say recently, literally at the start of the year. That's how long it's taken for the car to be done so far. So the wheels caught my eye because they're the ones that are on Mr. P. There was also this Fiat Tempo Estate. Again, when was the last time you saw a Tempo or a Tempo Estate? Incredibly rare in an estate being that shape, so fantastic to see. And this Yugo is owned by the guy who I bought Kelly my Skoda Favourite from. So it's good to see the Yugo out and about again. And of course, here's a Skoda Favourite estate, because we can't talk about favourites and not show you another favourite that was at the show.
There were a couple of Lancias there, and they were quite exceptional, although one was slightly more unexceptional, and that was this Y10. It's a fire left-hand drive, and it's one of those cars that I very much liked but never actually managed to buy, so it's great to see that there. There was this Mazda 121, and it has this lovely alluring colour to it and a very nice fold back roof as well, so it's great to see that there too. I've always been a fan of the early Seat Ibifas. It's great to see this one there as well in exceptional condition, and just behind it was this Fiat Panda 750, again in great condition and with the very interesting hammock seats that fold out into a bed. And the owners spoke to us for a while, which was great, and their dog made friends with our dog husband too, so we enjoyed that. There was also this 205 GT, which is the 5-door spec of the XS, which is a rare and interesting find for sure.
And last but not least, we look at this BX Athena. Now, you guys will not know about this car, but we drove all the way down to Cornwall a few years ago in Kelly, my Skoda Favourite, to pick this up for our friend Andy. So when we saw this, it was fantastic to have a look around it and just relive some memories. This car is still in exceptional condition, and it is being really well looked after by its new owner.
Well, you join us back at the house, you may know, because it looks like a project. So that's still ongoing. But, well, we could talk to you about our favourites and all of the cars at the show all day. It was absolutely fantastic. But we're going to leave it there. So after we saw all of our favourites and everything, we left the show with Sam, followed him to the campsite. We had a very lovely meal at the Wishing Well Inn. Highly recommend anyone to stay there. Great food, great campsite, and an electrical hookup as well, which was a godsend for charging Wartburg batteries. We then put the tent down in the morning after an early night, and we set off on our journey home. Unfortunately, it did rain quite a lot of it, so in this clip here you may notice that I was just checking on the battery because we lost the wipers. So yeah, now we're back, we're all safe, but I definitely need to look at the dynamo because I'm going to get caught out in the rain and in the dark otherwise. So yeah, thanks very much for watching this video, guys. We hope you enjoyed Festival of the Unexceptional. It was a great show and we'll happily go again. Like, comment and subscribe, and we see you all in the next one.